Drew Petzing holds the power for the Arizona Cardinals in 2025. Nick Rallis runs the heartbeat, and Jonathan Gannon leads. Pretty good setup to me. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen free wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season's around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app and start planning your futures bet now. So I wanted to do a coach's show today. Jonathan Gannon spoke to the media, said you're pretty much going to see a rinse and repeat from last week. This week, against the Raiders, whoever's playing is going to be playing for roster spots. I think all of this is pretty obvious. I'll go more in depth about it tomorrow, but I wanted to just give a little update because he did speak to the media this morning about 20 minutes ago. But I wanted to do a coach's show today to kind of put into perspective how much power the coaches yield as compared to what the actual product we're going to see on the field by the actual players who will be playing in the game. That's a clunky way of saying this is what the coaches can control and what they can do in an effort to position the players to perform the best to win the most amount of games. Okay, so I'll do Jonathan Gannon at the end because he's kind of the overseer. He's the guy who sees everything. Nick Rallis, I'm going to do in the second segment because they added a lot of pieces on defense. Nick Rallis, if you had to pick between the two, who's been the more standout coordinator, you'd pick Nick Rallis. I think it's pretty safe to say. Because there's been so much pressure on the offense to produce, it's under a lens that's different than Nick Rallis's when you're looking at Drew Petzing, because Nick Rallis has had no talent, really, aside from, Budda Baker, especially in 2023, didn't have a whole lot. Had a bunch of rookies, a bunch of young guys. There were some injuries, but this year is the first year where if he can elevate this talent level to the next level, you're looking at a top 5, top 7 defense. Drew Petzing has had Kyler Murray for, a year and a half of the seasons that he's been here. He came out hot with Josh Dobbs. He kind of showed his Cleveland roots, running the ball, quarterback, being efficient in the run game as well. But, the pressure has always really been on him because it's supposed to be the offense that's the driving force of this team, and it hasn't been for good chunks of seasons. But Drew Petzing does hold the power, okay? And I know that the give and take between Kyler Murray and Drew Petzing is one to be studied for sure. And taking away the obvious, Drew Petzing could have called the right play and Kyler Murray could have made the wrong read or might not have waited for the progression to take long enough to find that sweet spot open receiver that's catching the opposing defense guessing, or Kyler Murray maybe kept the ball instead of handing it off in an RPO or vice versa, where the play call was right, or maybe Kyler checked to the wrong play. Like, all of those things are true in any sort of offensive coordinator and quarterback relationship. But by and large, the offensive coordinator controls the situation, and it's up to the players to be able to produce and score points and win games. So I know all of that. Very smart audience, everydayers. Thank you. But I think setting the stage for all of this before diving into it was just good to, set that foundation. So Drew Petzing in 2025 has no safety net. So that's obvious. He's coaching for his job. And that's not to say that he's a lame duck, he's gone no matter what guy. We've seen brilliance from Drew Petzing. We have. The power that Drew Petzing holds is how exotic this offense will look. Is it going to be off tackle on first down 80% of the time? Are you going to see more play action on first down in favorable positions? Are you going to see more play action on first down in non-favorable positions, 1st and 10 inside the 10? Are you going to see the ability to utilize players not named Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride in the pass game? Are you able to find ways? This has been the missing piece for me. We've seen it sparingly, and you can't use it a lot because then people will catch on to it. But the missing piece for me is the play call like we saw in San Francisco where Kyler Murray housed it from the 50. those. And it doesn't have to be ones for touchdowns. It has to be ones for chunk gains when everybody's looking one way and Kyler Murray's going the other. Those are the plays that are missing. Those are the plays that really, really good coordinators have in their bag that maybe they set up for a game or two, running one play, plenty of tape gone the other way. And yeah, of course, on the player as well. Maybe Kyler doesn't tuck it when he should. When you see, a right tackle completely setting the edge, and all you have is a linebacker to beat on the weak side. Like maybe that is some on Kyler. But Drew Petzing holds the power to unlock this offense. And I don't think that he's been given one full year of perfect to be able to do it. What do I mean by that? First year he didn't have a quarterback. Kyler Murray was then gingerly coming off his ACL tear, plus no talent on defense. Last year, not real talent on defense, even though they ended up top 15, metrically at the end of the year. But I think Drew Petzing, part of what he did last year, conservative-wise, was give his defense a break. Maybe eat clock a little bit more. Maybe run the ball a little bit more to churn the clock to give the defense a chance, to not only catch their breath, but also not be on the field because the offense was supposed to be the strength. And it was for the most part of last season. This is the first year where he's playing well ahead of the curve of where he's been. He's got a really good defense on paper. He's running it back with the offense. Everybody's been in this system for, at least a year and a half, or at least a full year now together. This is the year to unlock the offense. And he holds that power. It's not Kyler Murray. It's not the offensive line. It's not Trey McBride. It's Drew Petzing. So regardless of if you think that he has underwhelmed so far, and I think he's been fine. He's been fine. He hasn't been top 5, but he hasn't been bottom 10. He's been fine. I think that people like to look for a scapegoat. And some people are in the camp that if things go wrong this year, it's going to be just Drew Petzing gone. I think Kyler and he are president and vice president. It's going to be both or neither. It's going to be both or neither, in my opinion. I mean, and that can change. Obviously, we haven't seen any texture what the season looks like because it hasn't started yet. But while this seems like an obvious thing to say that the offensive coordinator has the power, it's more than just calling the plays. It's finding a way to evolve this offense into unlocking its true potential. And I do believe, even though Kyler Murray's had his shortcomings, Kyler Murray hasn't been fantastic a lot of the time he's been in the NFL. Kyler Murray has the skill set to elevate this offense if the offense is called in a way to be elevated. That's the decider here. And if it doesn't work, Kyler's gone more than likely, and Petzing's gone. Drew Petzing will get another job. He'll be an offensive coordinator for a while. I think he's been just fine. But just fine doesn't win you anything. Just fine just keeps you from losing a lot. And you can't look at 2023, look at 2024. The offense looked incredible for half the season and anemic for 30% of it. And then the other 20% was kind of in the middle. But it's him. It's finding ways to get Zay Jones, Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch involved. It's finding ways to get Marv to that next step. And a lot of it's on the player and Kyler Murray, of course. But it's on him to take a B- offense last year with 0 new characters except for Zay Jones for a full season. And, Trey Benson really leveling up. And Jacoby Brissett if need be. And turn them into a B+ A- offense this season. We've seen him capable of doing that in spurts. Now he's got to do it for 80% of the season instead of just 50. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. Drew Rallis. What are we doing here, guys? Nick Rallis runs the heartbeat, which is the defense. And you got to feel safer about this side. And it's going to look a lot different than how it has. I'll discuss next. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by our delightful friends at FanDuel. So, I love FanDuel. And on August 26th, I'll love them even more because it's officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week one even kicks off, this is your moment. Like, Super Bowl predictions for this year is going to be fascinating. I'm not even saying the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are around 50-1. Like, is it the Ravens' year? Can the Bengals make a push? Are the Eagles just going to repeat because they've got such a stout roster? Like, are the Chiefs going to remind people who they are? Is it going to be somebody completely different? Like, this is the day, Futures Day, on FanDuel, where you can get in on all that action on top of, all the other days as well. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, man. For those that haven't checked out the Cardinal Squad Show, do it. It's really fun, completely different, stencil. It's an hour long. It's live. It's more interactive. It's myself, Jameel Douglas, played in the NFL for 7 years, won a Super Bowl, and Ben Garcia. It's fun. It's a good show. You get to see kind of a different side of me where I'm not driving. I'm just kind of, talking Cardinals, and Jameel's great and Ben's good. Like, we're a good trio. We've hit a stride a lot quicker than I thought we would. Because it's different. It's 3 different personalities thrown into an hour, and but man, it's a good time. It's a good time. So the setup for after games this year, post game, I will be going live for 10 to 20 minutes. Just doing a recap show. It doesn't count towards the 5 shows a week. And then immediately following that, we'll be doing a full hour of live Cardinal Squad show. So join us. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm not going to say it's going to be good anymore. I've said it twice. Nick Rallis could be head coach next year. Like, what this dude has done is what you want out of every single coordinator that has ever lived. And you're looking at it more in a defensive lens here, because it's just more of a team thing on defense. Is elevate talent. That's it. Elevate talent. And put players in the best position to succeed at what they're good at. Let me rephrase. Putting players in a position so they can do what they're good at in an effort for the team to succeed. And he's done that. He's had help. Budda Baker has been, having a guy like him and Jalen Thompson over the top to kind of cover up any holes. I'm a revolving door. I'm a broken record with this, but it is so important. And not every team has one. Not every team has one. But he runs the heartbeat. The defense is going to be the heartbeat of this team. And the reason for that is you got a defensive head coach. You got a defensive coordinator who's, the 1A coming over from as a linebacker coach from Philly, with Jonathan Gannon being the DC. Like, it's the heartbeat, especially for 2025, because they put all of their money and draft eggs into the defensive basket. This was the plan. Even though I do think, not tinfoil hat by any stretch, but I do think that Will Johnson dropping into the second round changed the landscape of what they were going to do in the draft. I feel like they could have taken an offensive lineman there, could have taken a wide receiver there, done something like that. But because Will Johnson was there, you had to take him, and it kind of scrapped the play. I don't think that they went into it 6 out of 7 picks. Or however many picks they had. I think 6 out of 7 picks. Okay, cool. Defense. I don't think that was the plan. Regardless, over the first 2 seasons, he's completely leveled up the defense from Vance Joseph. And that's pretty obvious. Even with no talent in 2023, they were a competitive team. They got blown out a couple times. Cincinnati and another. But I think San Francisco blew them the hell out also in 2023. But he leveled them up. Last year, you could really see it. They had no semblance of a pass rush. Trade for Baron Browning, he was fine. I mean, BJ Ojolari didn't play. Darius Robinson didn't play. They didn't have any real push from the inside. I mean, Dante Stills was the best interior defensive lineman they had. The corners were young. Max Melton was okay. Garrett Williams was good. And then Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson were Old Faithful. And then Kazir White and Mac Wilson were good in the middle. But, they were the 15th ranked defense last year. They were bottom 7 talent. Easy. So if you look at what happens this year, with all of the talent they added, and it doesn't need to be top flight talent. The Cardinals didn't sign an all-pro this offseason, but collectively, Joshua, Dalvin Thomas, and Calais Campbell, that is going to make this defensive front look all-pro compared to last season. And last season looked all-pro compared to 2023. So if you take what they did this offseason, even if Will Johnson doesn't play as well as expected right away, and Walter Nolan takes some time to get back from his injury, this defense is ready to rip, man. This defense has a ceiling of top 5, top 7. It does. On paper, it does. And if you think that that's incorrect, that's okay. You can disagree with me once a month. You have to agree with me other than that. This is a Clancy tatership. I'm not sure if I like that. Look around the NFL at depth on defense. The Cardinals are much more equipped to reach that top 7 level than you would think before looking around the NFL. A lot of bad defenses. And a lot of okay defenses just because there's 1 or 2 good players, very top heavy, very a la Arizona Cardinals forever. But Drew Petzing or Nick Rallis calling the shots with this kind of defense, the amoeba-like malleable defense that they run because they're insane people. They've got dudes who can do everything necessary to put whatever personnel you want to on the field. And that's where he eats. He's finally got all the utensils necessary to make this grandiose meal. He's got it now. And he's shown incrementally that he is trustworthy to level up talent, configure properly in an effort to put players in the right position for them to do what they're good at, and just outplay and outkick their coverage. So when you look at a guy like Jordan Burch, he's one for me. I said it right after the draft. I'm not familiar. I'm not a draft guru. I watched a bunch of tape from him. I talked to some people I trust. They thought that an upside could be week 1 to play. Not to start, but to play. And I look at his, measurables, and I looked at what he's really good at. And he's violent, and he's maybe the best bull rusher in the draft. Top 5. Top 3, I mean. Best bull rusher in the draft. And I think about Nick Rallis and Jonathan Gannon, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that dude's going to play. That dude's going to play. That's why he was drafted. Because it doesn't matter if you have above average situational pass rushers. You can find those. What does matter is you have a defensive coordinator that can exploit opposing offenses by putting his players in the exact position to where they can do what they're best at in an effort to exploit opposing offenses. And Jordan Burch will be the best bull rusher on this team. And it doesn't matter if he gets to the quarterback. You know who comes behind him? Max Melton, Mac Wilson, Budda Baker. The exotic blitz packages that Nick Rallis put together last year. My favorite duo was Mac Wilson and Budda Baker. You look at the talent they've got now. The pass rushers don't have to get to the quarterback. They've got to disrupt and find holes for speed demons behind them to get there. That's what Nick Rallis can do. That's why he runs the heartbeat of this team, because he runs his defense like everybody's an extension of each other. Just like an amoeba kind of thing. So if you've got a skill set, he'll find a spot for you. Whether that's the 3 safety demon DB package that I've called demon because it's alliterative. I think that's cool. with Dejan Taylor-Demerson, Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson, and then Garrett Williams on the outside and either Max Melton or Will Johnson alongside him. The opportunity and possibilities for this defense with Nick Rallis calling the shots are endless. And that's why you could say he runs the heartbeat of this team. Drew Petzing holds the power. Nick Rallis runs the heartbeat. And Jonathan Gannon is all seeing. Why is that a good place for the Cardinals to be in? I'll discuss it next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts, even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you, and you can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks, man. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNFL. YouTube channel, Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Subscribe, please. I said please. If you want to go leave a review where reviews are left, that's cool. Apple, whatever. I'd appreciate it, especially everydayers who have been around a long time. Takes a couple minutes. Yeah. Jonathan Gannon. I talked about this a little earlier in the week. He's a dictionary definition of stable. He's the perfect mix of a player's coach and an authoritarian. And he's not, Chuck Daly on the sidelines or, Pete Carroll on the sideline. Pete Carroll is like the epitome of player's coach and authoritarian. Like he's the best to ever do it in my lifetime. The best to ever be both. But Jonathan Gannon's obviously more stoic on the sidelines, hands crossed, zen, sunglasses on kind of thing. I think this was a Phil Jackson quote. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, if you practice right and you coach right during practice, you can just kind of chill during the games. And I'm not saying he's chilling. I'm saying that that's what his demeanor looks like during games. He trusts his coordinators. His role in 2025 to level up is make better decisions in the most key of situations. It's like, well, that's what a good coach does all the time. It's not just you have this like magical elixir where you have a magic 8-ball where it's like, oh, this is the right choice. There's so many things that go into decisions on fourth down, third and longs, whether you try and go for it on fourth down or you just, run a draw and try to get 5 or 7 to punt, like kicking a field goal, going forward on 4th and 3 or kicking a 53-yard field goal, things like that. That is going to be his role to bear in 2025. He leads. He's great at that. I think that he would get a 100% approval rating. The decisions that he will make this season are what will paint the next 5 years of his career. And a lot of them are going to be, okay, 4th and 2 from your own 48. Do you give the ball to Blake Gillikin and have him pin him back inside the 5-yard line, coffin corner it, and you roll out this defense and you blitz the hell out of him, hoping for a safety or turnover that turns into a touchdown? Or do you put the ball in the best player on the team's hands in Kyler Murray and make something happen? Those decisions, there's going to be a lot of them, because last year, I did talk about this. Last year, I was fascinated because I was wondering what their fourth down theory was going to be, because the defense wasn't great. So it's like, okay, so do you go for it more on fourth downs to keep the defense off the field, or do you punt more because you want to not put the defense in a bad situation? This year, it's the opposite of that. Are you more aggressive on offense on fourth down because you have a defense, you have a big brother behind you that can maybe hold a team to 3 instead of giving them 6? Or do you trust the special teams and punt more and go a little bit more conservative because you have a defense, you have big brother behind you that could potentially turn the ball over and give the offense a short field? Those are the decisions that Jonathan Gannon will show leadership through this year. He doesn't have to, in my opinion, he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody anymore. He's the dude. They got to win games this year. If they win 6 games this year, we're having a different conversation. But that is so far out of rational thought as to what will happen. And this isn't rose-colored glasses. What I've talked about countlessly on this show is there have been factual things that have happened that would lend even the biggest cynic to believe the Cardinals will win 10-plus games this year. Like, actual things have happened. This isn't like, oh, well, if this happens and, oh, they're pacing for this. No. Actual things have happened. So when you're looking at Jonathan Gannon and his leadership style and things like that, I think he does exactly what he's been doing. The only jump that he needs to make, and it's a big one, but he's had so much more experience. Like, last year was the first year he had a quarterback for a full season as a head coach. These aren't excuses, they're reasons. He failed miserably at times last year in decision-making, going forward on fourth down, punting, kicking field goals. He made bad decisions. I think he'll be the first one to say that. He has a little bit more leeway this year because he has more opportunity to make the right choice. Because if you punt or you go for it, you can kind of determine both. Obviously, that's in a vacuum. But you've got a defense that can get stops. You got an offense that can be special. So he has more leeway to make the right choice, but he must make the right choice. That's the thing. He must make the right choice. That's what his 2025 will be remembered by. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. We'll preview Sunday's matchup or Saturday's matchup against the Raiders tomorrow. Should be fun to talk 27 minutes about Clayton Tune. But next week, I've got a really fun thing lined up. I'll tell you here about it. I'm doing a guest week again. I've got 3 big names I'm interviewing already. Well, one is already done. I'm interviewing one more tomorrow and then one on Monday. Looking to get 2 more. So we'll be doing a guest week next week because there's no football. So why the hell not get really smart people to join me to talk about the Cardinals? It's going to be fun. But yeah, previewing Saturday's matchup tomorrow. Until then, remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.